What is up, my man? Caught you right in the middle of a drink.
I'm never not drinking water before we start, dude. Trying not to choke, but no promises on my end, man.
I mean,
So what's up?
That's kind of been your MO today.
Dude, it all started with that chunk of granola going down. Like, I just swallowed it, and it so I was in a hurry. It was still a solid chunk of granola, and it went all the way down my throat. I thought I was going to choke right then, but
I thought you were too.
I'm like, frick, dude. Fortunately, this bar is perfect. Just give myself the Heimlich. Yeah. Well, for those of you that weren't there, because nobody else was there except for him, I almost choked on a chunk of granola earlier today before the show. But
yep,
I live to tell the tale. It's pretty cool.
How's everybody doing tonight? What's going on out there on a Friday night?
Yeah, what up, Facebook land?
YouTube land.
YouTube land. We're not cool enough to be broadcasting to the Instaland.
The Instaland.
Yeah. So yeah, hey, so this is our second stream on the Dillon and the Doc page, seeing how this is going. Yeah, we're just trying to build the audience on the page so that you guys know when and where we're live instead of on our individual profiles. Keeping everybody connected.
Yeah.
So,
building a solid community there.
Yeah, that's what this is all about, man. That is what this is all about.
Sober 45 days. I love it.
What's up? Good job, Jason. Yeah, it's huge. It really is huge. So, curious where everybody's checking in from. Let us know where you're at, where you're from, and let us know what time it is where you're there. It is 9 o'clock here in Dallas, Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area.
It is 8 o'clock here in the great state of Wyoming.
Wyoming doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
I've heard. I'm from there, but it doesn't exist. So yeah. Who are we? I guess I'll start tonight. I made you start this afternoon. For those of you that don't know, we also have show Friday afternoon. So every other Friday is a doubleheader. So here we are, twice today. I'm Dillon Reed. I am a sobriety coach. I help dads get sober so that they can take better care of their wives and children, because they're not if they're still drinking. That's the facts. So, sobriety expert. That's my name. That's my game.
All right, 10 p.m. Birmingham. I am Dr. Ryan. I am an expert in relationship development. I'm a professional relationship coach, and I do what other people can't. I keep your relationship together, and I give you the tools to make it thrive, grow into the future. 10 p.m. in Buffalo, it's always hot. I almost choked to death on a piece of Adam's steak.
Buffalo, Bluffton.
Bluffton.
Yeah.
Man, I'm reading through these.
Adam's steak.
Heimlich myself. That was fun.
What is Adam's steak? I think it must be a piece of steak. I don't know. But Adam's steak. I was like, who's Adam? You took someone's steak. You deserve to choke, man. It's his steak. Anyways.
My microphone said Adams. I never said that ever.
Okay, there we go. Like, don't go stealing people's steak, man. Of all the things you could steal. So yeah.
This could have taken a very left turn.
I mean, it's a Friday night.
It's a Friday night. We're just here to have fun.
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say. I was like, and people think that sober people are boring. You got two sober guys here. I have like the time of my life. When the late night ones are great. Start getting a little delirious. I'm sleepy. I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like, yeah, let's go.
Same.
So yeah. So yeah, we talk relationships and recovery. We started doing these late night shows. We did them for 2 weeks straight. We took a 1 week hiatus to kind of talk over when we wanted to keep doing this stuff, and we decided every Tuesday and every other Friday. So this is the every, not the other Friday. So there we go. We're
From
here.
here on out, every other Friday. But
Yeah.
you'll also know if you just follow the page, Dillon and the Doc group.
Yeah, and that's actually I am remiss everybody. I am a human being and I have children and they get sick, and then that I'm the house mother, work from home, stay at home dad, all those things. So my son was sick this week, which meant he was home instead of at school, which meant I was not in my office very much. I had intended to put together like a event schedule for the whole entire month, letting everyone know what nights we were live and what afternoon, and that just didn't get done. I also apologize for anybody that regularly follows the emails for the podcast and everything. I didn't get any of that done either, for the same reason that I didn't get that done. So it's the first week since January that I've dropped pretty much every plate that I've been juggling. So my bad. So we'll get that up.
That's right. You just pick them up and
yeah, you don't start on Monday.
Back.
You don't start on Monday. You start now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll do it tomorrow.
Dude, that's such a good thing to keep in mind. I mean, everybody's like, because it's the first of the week, just like the first of the year, I'll start Monday, or I'll start at the beginning of the year, or I'll start the first of the month, or it's always on the first. Man,
yeah.
If you get out of that damn mindset and just say, I start now, like right now.
Yeah, the only time that actually exists in your mind, like that actually does exist.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like you got 50 something Mondays in a year to pick to start on, and your brain doesn't know which Monday you're telling it to do. So it goes, I'll put it off till the next Monday. And then you'll go, I agree. That's a good idea. I can drink for a whole nother week now.
Yeah. And then you just become a creature of habit and you're putting stuff off. Putting stuff off becomes your habit.
Professional procrastination is the name of the game. I went to college. I got that fixed, got it squared away, But yeah. So speaking of procrastinating, we're like almost 10 minutes into the show and we haven't talked about anything except everything.
That's all right. That's what we're here for. It's
exactly
a fireside chat.
Yeah. If you guys have questions, any topics you want us to cover, relationship, recovery, personal development, anything like that, drop it in the comments. We'd love to know what you want to hear about, or else we'll just tell you stuff. We'll tell. I mean, it's all based in experience and evidence, but we'll tell you what we choose to tell you about. We don't know what you need, and we want to give you what you need, serve you up what you need. So, anything big on your? Oh, I got something big.
Oh, I'm gonna hear it. Let's hear it.
For those of you that were on the show on Tuesday, I was talking about my ground gears about that. There was a drinking event, Tears and Tequila here, where not everyone, but a group of people were drinking this Thursday to celebrate or commiserate about their children going to school. And I thought it was disgusting because they were basically, it was an event that was permissive of drinking at 8:00 in the morning.
I mean, it's a catchy name. Why not?
Dude, I'll give you a million reasons why not if you need them. But so I decided to ditch my insurance agent, because my insurance agent co-sponsored the event. And that meant that a small percentage of my money was going to sponsor this event that I was not cool with co-signing. And I think it's important. The reason I bring it up is because I don't co-sign people's bullshit. And I voted with my dollars. I was like, no, this guy doesn't get my money anymore because I can't support somebody that supports something like that. So, that's a new thing that came out of that whole thing. I kind of slept on it and was like, am I overreacting? And And I'm like, it doesn't really matter if I am, because at the end of the day, my conscience is what made the vote. So there you go. So
How do you feel about the decision now?
Uh, I feel good. I feel
Yeah.
good about it. Dollars to donuts, it's about the same amount of money. Insurance coverage is identical. You
Yeah.
know? But I just, I don't know. I mean, it's not him. I have nothing against the guy. Like, he doesn't think about it. Most people don't think about it. That's what is so insidious about drinking culture in the United States, is that most of us
Hmm.
don't think about it. It's just there. It's kind of just like this low hum in the background. So when someone's like, yeah, we're going to drink at 8 o'clock in the morning, it'll be fun. Oh, and we're also going to raise money. As soon as you say you're raising money for a charity, then you can drink whenever the hell you want. It gives you like a blank check to get drunk at whenever till whenever.
I have to ask this because I'm a huge, like, you don't co-sign on people's stuff. I'm a huge believer in separating business from friendship and personal stuff. Was
Right.
it him or was it the business that was sponsoring this?
This is a business. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
but I don't know. I mean, it's difficult because anytime you have it, like if you have an insurance, like you get like, Mike Jones, Allstate
Yeah.
agent, so it's like, I mean, it's his name co-signed all over it. It's nothing against him personally.
Hmm.
I don't even know the guy.
Yeah.
I just know that he took some of the money that I've given him to support this thing that I don't support. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And that was enough for me. Um,
I
but
get it. I just had to ask.
hey, it's cool. Um, no vendetta against the dude. He seems like whatever. I don't really care. Um,
Yeah, it's not personal, it's business.
yeah, and that's how I see it too. It's like this has nothing to do with the guy. I've spent money with people I didn't necessarily like as a person, but the
Mhm.
business was fine. It was
Yeah.
above board, and the product was what I needed. So
Yeah.
that's what you do, dude. Um, yeah. So I just thought I'd drop that for anybody that's been following the wacky world of the drunken neighborhood I live in. So there you go. Yeah.
I like it. I like it that you got all that figured out.
Yeah.
Hard decision, sounds like you put a healthy bound. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. And it was a weird. I've never made a decision like that in my life. Uh, ever. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. I'll still support people that are, testing on animals and humans or whatever. But so
Boundaries are a hard thing for a lot of people because they feel guilty putting those boundaries in place.
dude, you just nailed that actually. Um,
And you shouldn't feel, here's the thing, it's your life and you shouldn't feel guilty about putting boundaries. I've said it on the show, I don't know, 10, 15 times. Set boundaries early and set boundaries often. Boundaries are lifeblood. Like, that's what keeps people from stepping all over you, all over
yeah,
your character, all over what you stand for.
yeah,
Like in your relationship and even in life, like you just showed.
yeah. Yeah, that was like the next, and I don't know what I'll do here. It was like the question is like, if they ask why I left, what do I say? The answer is the truth, right?
Yeah, the
I
answer is
just,
the truth.
I just hope they don't ask, to be honest, because I don't want to fucking deal with that. Like, yeah, well, the reason that I left is because the company supported a drinking culture that I'm just not a fan of,
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, it's weird because I live in Dallas Fort Worth, right? There's
Hmm.
like I think 8 million people in the whole metro area. And we live in this community that's like 10,000 people.
Hmm.
And it's like in the middle of all this stuff that's going on. And it's somehow we're like an island. I can't even explain it. There's like rural areas around us and then metro stuff outside of it. So it's like living in a small town. So it's just like this weird thing where it's like I don't want to be the dude in the neighborhood. All of a sudden it's like, this anti-booze
Yeah.
guy, because that's not really
Well,
it.
and like you said Tuesday, it wasn't about the booze necessarily. It was about using the kids as an excuse to
Totally.
drink.
Totally. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think you would have been fine if he sponsored, I don't know, a sporting event where booze was held or
Totally.
a, a community 4th of July party.
Yeah. 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 Or like I think about like in Casper they have this thing called Thankful Thursdays. It's
Mhm.
at a bar there, but it's always for like a really good event. So I was but on the board of directors for the Shrine Club, which is like Shrine Hospitals is a local chapter there. And we always did like a Thankful Thursday event where we raised a lot of money for the Shrine Hospital. I never
Yeah.
got mad that we did it at a bar, because it wasn't like that's not what it was about. But
Yeah.
this was like using really crappy excuse to get drunk. All excuses, by the way, are bad excuses to get drunk. This was just really poor flavor. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. It was the circumstances, not the alcohol.
Totally. Yeah. That's it. Like, and people drinkers gonna drink, man. It's all good.
Yeah.
Some of us shouldn't. What's up, Doug? And who else we got? We got Jess in the house.
Got Jess in here.
Jess, you're here like every night. Love it.
Doug's here every time.
It's
yeah,
true.
Doug's here every
sorry,
night.
I didn't mean to leave you out, Doug. I don't want you to feel like I left you out. Same with Kathy. Kathy's here a lot too. Okay. Jen is here as well. Jackie, you two, Jason.
Jen.
I've never seen you here before, Jason, but I'm stoked you're here. So yeah. All right, man. Dude.
Wow.
God. There's some shout outs right there.
It is a solid crew.
Yeah, dude. Way good crew. Yeah, appreciate all y'all. So I think
somebody kick us off with a question statement, something that happened this week, because I've got a whole list here we can go into, but let's turn it into an actual fireside chat and have somebody kick something off in there.
Look at the doctor bringing a syllabus to the program. Like,
who had something good, bad, indifferent, anything in their relationship or in their sobriety.
Yeah, and if you don't want to leave a comment, you can always send a DM too. But
Dillon, this is a fireside chat. Open it up. I'm joking. Dude. I'm joking.
I mean, I can do it. I got s'mores, dude. S'mores Pop Tarts are horrible. Anyways, continue.
Man, I saw this thing on TikTok that we started doing, and it was taking a strawberry and you put marshmallow fluff around it.
Okay.
And you roast it like a marshmallow over the fire, and then you put like chocolate syrup on it. Oh my God. Man, that is probably one of the best decisions I ever made.
Oh.
As far as food by the fire.
So yeah. I am gonna run a marathon.
You're gonna run a marathon?
I'm doing it. Yeah, I've committed. I've mentally committed to it and started taking some physical action towards it. Yeah, because I don't know, man. I really love running, and just recently I started like taking it more serious, like scientific approach to it. Like, okay, do you have a friend that runs like, I'm not exaggerating, like multiple 100-mile runs every summer? So
that's crazy.
It is insane to me. I'm like, dude, I don't, that's not my plan. Like that, I just want my 26-2. It was sort of a feather in the hat thing. I don't really care. I don't need to justify it to anybody, but it's like, I reached out to him. I was like, dude, when I run, this is my experience. What am I doing wrong? And he explains to me like what's going on. I'm like, shit. So I apply some of the things he told me, and I was like, wow, this actually makes running more fun than I already thought it was when I was struggling through it.
Really?
Yeah, dude, because it just has to do with pacing and breathing and all that stuff. And I didn't understand the foundations of it in the way that I understand it now. So then I was like, yeah, okay, I really want to do this. So I have committed. I'm going to go ahead and train. So it's like 30 to 40 miles a week at 70 to 80% of your max heart rate. So it's like, it's a lot of mileage to get in shape to do that, but I really do want to do it. I used to run a lot. This is weird, but I used to run a lot when I was like in my 20s. I'd get wasted and then go run. Like drink, I don't know, maybe like half a fifth of whiskey. Jesus. And then just put my headphones in, and I would like in Casper, I'd run from like CY and Poplar all the way to the mall and back because I live like right there. Yeah. I don't know, dude. Everyone joked, called me a top fuel dragster because I was run on alcohol. But yeah, so that has nothing to do with unhealthy drinking culture. But
Nice.
yeah. So
Well,
yeah, I mean that it's semi related because we're talking about personal development on the show.
yeah.
So
And
something
personal development, by the way, shout out to Doug, still maintaining 4 night,
that's
doing
less than when you
awesome.
started, man. Yeah.
Steve stayed sober for a couple months. It's important. 100%.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Then we have a question from Miss Jackie too.
Oh.
Lightbulb most recently at work would often give directions to visitors where they could charge their electric car while visiting my place of employment. It was behind the tavern, and I would offer them to stop in for a meal and a cocktail. I realized mentioning the cocktail is a trigger word for me and how it could be for others, and will be removing it from conversations. Awesome. Do you have something that you're going to switch it with, like a drink, a beverage, or are you just going to say, come in for a
Food.
meal?
Yeah. Food. I'd just say
Food?
food, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because we were talking previously on the show about the drinking culture and how it's like silent. I mean, it's like really loud, but it's silent all at the same time. It just exists. It's like
Yeah.
the sociologist says, we don't know who discovered water, but it surely wasn't the fish. It's kind of the
Yeah.
same concept. We're swimming in a culture where drinking is the norm. So
Yeah.
you don't think about it.
Mhm.
But it really is true. Like there's no, Jackie, not to upset you, but there might have been somebody at some point that was like, why the hell did she ask me to go drink? Um, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, cool. That's a cool aha moment to have. We
It
call
is.
that, what is it called? Empathy. It's called
Empathy.
developing empathy, which I would like to point out is something we often lose in drinking. In active addiction, you start to lose it. You actually, the part of your brain that handles empathy doesn't work so well.
Really?
So yeah, it's some of the damage that gets done to the right hemisphere of your brain. So congratulations, Jackie, you are developing empathy again. So that's cool.
Empathy is a big one. We talked about it today.
We did, dude. Yeah. Like if you
Yeah.
can't empathize, it's really hard to communicate and be an active listener and understand where your partner's coming from. And
It
you know,
is.
like
Man,
you know,
empathy is just, it's so important. Everybody thinks of empathy as being a weakness, but if you can empathize with somebody and understand where they are, it becomes one of your greatest strengths.
yeah, because it's not a vulnerability, I don't think, to be able to empathize to you.
No, it's being able to empathize is probably one of the most powerful tools you can have in understanding other people. I mean, that's like the basis of sales.
I would agree with that.
Like, trying to understand other people, you have to kind of empathize with them in a way.
Oh,
Uh, I do want to hit this while we're talking about empathy.
oh, go to his coffee. Do I have any other ideas, methods, or techniques I could use when the urge pops up? Um, so I don't drink coffee myself at all. So yeah, I you should drink a lot of water for one. Um, I don't know how long you've been sober for. I apologize if you mentioned it previously and I missed it, but um, you got a lot of toxins you're trying to get rid of. So make sure you're staying hydrated, drink plenty.
45 days, by the way.
Okay, yeah, 40. He was a 45 days. Yeah, I mean you've detoxed as far as like the classical detox, but you're still toting around some baggage, hanging out, cells that you've damaged that need to be replaced, that kind of stuff. So drinking lots of water helps.
What you
Um,
said last week was probably, I don't know, if I was trying to quit drinking, it would help me the most, which was the 15-minute rule. We
yeah,
had somebody who was going to go for
a
a
walk.
mile walk,
Yeah, Bray.
right? Because those urges only last for 15 minutes. And when you understand that it lasts for 15 minutes, my thinking was choose something that takes 15 minutes.
Totally. Walk a mile. It's
Yeah.
like 50 minutes. Yeah, because that's what I use the toddler analogy, explaining how that urge is like a screaming toddler, and the more
Yeah.
you say no to it, the quieter it gets because it realizes that when it screams, it doesn't get what it wants. Um, yeah, that's definitely like the best way. Um, I, I'm not saying you should quit drinking coffee. That's the thing I did because I could tell it was controlling my mind. I craved it. I don't like craving things anymore. Yeah, like I swear, dude, anything like even video games, they piss me off. If I have a video game that I want to play, I will specifically choose not to play it. Um, so I just my concern with the coffee thing is like if you drink it all day, you are messing with your sleep architecture at night, whether you're conscious of it or not. So that you need to find something besides coffee after about 10 o'clock in the morning. Because coffee half-life's the way that it dissipates from your body. So if you're drinking it past about 10 o'clock in the morning, it won't be gone in time for you to like properly fall asleep.
So say somebody has a desk job and they get an urge
Mhm.
or something where they can't be active. We talked a lot about, I mean, you've said drink water, obviously, but we've said take a walk. Like, what are some things you can do
So
in those instances where you can't get up and move?
um this I am I'm a I, this is one thing that I am not a fence rider on, and this is sort of an unpopular opinion. I don't really care whether
Yeah.
people like it or not, but um embrace it. If you're stuck, like if you're stuck, okay, if you can't shift your because like when you're sitting at a desk, it's really hard to like, get out of your head, right? Because
Mhm.
that's what we're doing when we go for a walk, when we're doing those kinds of things, we're trying to get out of our head. We can't do that. If
Yeah.
you're in a position where you have to be in that moment, then be curious with it, be playful with it. It might sound
Mhm.
bizarre, but like if you have an urge, question where it's coming from, question how you feel about it, because the things we resist persist. So, like, if you sit there and you're like, shut up, go away, I don't want to think about you, that's a surefire way to turn like 15 minutes into an hour. So,
Yeah.
kind of just see, like, feel it out. Like, why am I feeling this way? Like, why is it that I have a craving right now? What
Uh-huh.
set this off? You know, is it bad? Is it good? Don't judge it when you're using those words, but try to just feel it. You
There's
know,
there's so much power in that knowledge.
that's truly it. And if you don't get to know the things that we lose out on the most in our drinking is we lose mindfulness. Like
Yeah.
you're mentally incapable essentially of being mindful. And when we're in a craving, we go right back to that state because you're not here in the moment when you're craving. That's the reality. You want to be in a
Yeah.
future moment. So you can practice becoming more mindful. And as you understand those feelings, that's you developing mindfulness, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my hot take about it. Because most people are going to tell you distractions, like distract yourself and don't think about it. Um, I think you should because you will, whether you like it or not. So it's best to understand it than it is to run from it. Um,
One of my a couple of my favorite things when with mindfulness is counting breaths
yeah,
because that if you can do the box breathing, I don't know if everybody knows what box breathing is, but it's breathe in for 4, a count of 4, out for a count of 4, in for a count of 4, out for a count of 4, and do that for a while. It will really help. Um, but also while you're thinking about it, think about the feeling, getting rid of the feeling. Like pretty soon you can train yourself into getting rid of that feeling.
yeah,
And it won't be so bad.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'm a big fan of different breathing exercises. Um, one, what is it called? It's the physiological sigh. So you
Mhm.
like breathe in as deep as you can, and then you breathe in one more time to like really fill everything up, and
Mhm.
then you breathe out. And we do that naturally when we find ourselves generally feeling claustrophobic. Like you'll
Mm.
catch people in elevators doing it, and it almost immediately reduces anxiety in the moment. They've also shown there's studies like if you do it for like I want to say it's like 5 minutes a day. If you do it for a 5 minute period, breathing like that, you
Yeah.
can help reduce anxiety for a full 20 about 24-hour period. So Like a lot of people do some sun gazing and breathe like that, start their day out. Yeah. So I hope that helps you, Jason, Mr. Moore.
I like it.
Yeah, dude.
That,
So
that was a really good one. Thanks for that question.
yeah, man. I think like for those of you here that are not drinkers, maybe you're here, I don't know, because we're the most interesting people on the internet right now. You can apply that to anything. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be booze. It could be like anything that dominates your mind, right?
I mean, we
Yeah.
talked about it today, being able to control your emotions. Like that is one thing to do, because when we have that feeling of heightened arousal, emotional arousal,
Hmm.
it's like anxiety.
Yeah.
And we need to bring it back down. And breathing is one of the ways you're going to bring it back down. Um, and just check in, reflect on what the emotion is. You have to be able to identify the emotion. You have to be able to identify the craving. You have to be able
Yeah.
to you have to be able to identify things. So it really takes some thought that
Yeah.
goes into it. But the good thing about that is you're thinking about something other than what was triggering the emotion to happen in the first place. It kind of recenters you.
Totally. Yeah. I think I like that because I recently read a study that when we're young, what would be like a craving now, like as a kid, when you're having a craving for whatever it is, like it's not really a craving. It is closer to an emotion. It's like you having the urge to
Mhm.
experience something, right?
Yeah.
You're just chasing an experience, right?
Yeah.
It's like 60 to 90 seconds because we don't have the synaptic architecture to get on like this giant beltway that takes us 15 minutes to get off of, right?
Mhm.
So because kind of what you're doing when you're being mindful is like you're taking a trip down that whole thing to see where all that stuff goes, like how you got all these different synapses connected, but you're also undoing it as you start to understand those things. So then, like we talked about it earlier, emotions are like a check engine light. The next time your check engine light comes on, you only have to stare at it for 60 to 90 seconds and
Yeah.
it's gone, because you actually understand it. And on top of that, you understand it. So instead of you have a crave, like you feel a craving, you have no idea what the hell it means. You assume it's drinking, but you're actually hungry. But you can't distinguish between the two because you've not taken the time to be present with your own body to
Yeah.
find out, like, wait, what is it? What do I want? So
Dude, self-reflection like that is just so important in day-to-day personal development.
yeah, yeah,
It's super important.
yeah, yeah,
Understanding who you are and what drives you is what's gonna keep you moving forward.
dude.
It's what's gonna keep you growing. It's what shows you it's what allows you to show other people how to support you.
Do you have your clients journal at all?
Yeah.
Dude, I have the hardest damn time with my male clients.
Oh, yeah,
Females, it's not as bad, dude, but like, because I'm like, especially in the beginning, you need like an emotion log. Like, you need to be tracking what you're feeling when you're feeling it, try to understand it, right?
well,
And
here's the thing with my program, it's a little bit different. It's
yeah.
not structured that way. Like, every section has, I don't know, 4 plus exercises that you
Hmm.
can choose from that all do kind of the same thing. They
Okay.
all lead you to the same thing. How many guys choose journaling? Not a whole lot.
Right.
Is
Right.
journaling a part of my program? 100% because I see the value in it. And
Dude.
it's like this, like for sobriety, if you have a craving, I would write I would write down everything I was thinking in that moment because that's going to take me out of that BS that I'm thinking.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But journaling's weak. I don't want to talk about that stuff. Whatever the BS is these guys are trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all those things. I
But
mean,
I do things like prompts,
yeah.
which it gets people to write and journal without calling it journaling, I guess. So it's like Tell me what your strengths and weaknesses are. That's journaling. If you write those down, that's journaling. What do you value most in life? Oh, cool. You're writing this down. You're journaling.
Dude.
What challenges have you faced in the past and how did you overcome them? What has been your biggest success? What'd you learn from it? What's been your biggest failure? What'd you learn from it? What do I want to change about myself? What motivates me? How do I handle stress and what coping mechanisms do I use? I have this list of prompts that gets them to journal without calling it journaling.
You just let everybody see like
inside the inner workings of the program.
Yeah, dude. And now they're not gonna do it that way anymore.
Hey,
like,
it's their relationship, not mine. Like, if you want to be successful in your relationship, you'll do the work.
Dude, that was one of the hardest things for me to like grapple with in the beginning doing this was like, I am only as responsible as I can be for somebody else's sobriety. And I'm not. I'm responsible to give them all the tools and the coping mechanisms, everything I can that I promised that I would deliver.
Yeah.
It is not my responsibility to force them to use them. You know, it's
like, I cannot do the work. I can't be in the relationship. You have to do this. I have everything lined out. If you put it in place, you will succeed. Period.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yep. Yeah. I made you your yellow brick road, man, but you're the one that has to go follow it. Like, I can't do it for you.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Way interesting, dude. So yeah, again, Jason, thank you for the question that allowed us to just cruise down that rabbit hole quite a bit.
Yeah. And on that journaling thing, like, guys, women, whatever, whoever says, "Oh, I'm not going to journal," or "I don't want to do it," that shows a complete lack of openness and, to me, an ability to be vulnerable with themselves, in the relationship, in any way. Things that are healthy. You need to be open to new experiences because obviously what you've experienced beforehand wasn't working.
Weird.
Weird, odd.
Wasn't working. Yeah. No, it's like I just think it's such a strange concept because my unwillingness to be vulnerable kept me drunk for so long, so much longer than I needed to be, because I was unwilling to be weak, you know, like appear that way. Because like, as men in Western society, most Western society, the general brushstrokes here, guys, okay? These are sweeping generalizations. Most guys we're not allowed to be vulnerable. Like, we're not allowed to have weakness, right?
That's because people have painted this false perception of what vulnerability is. Vulnerability is not going and crying to people.
Let us have it.
That's not vulnerability. Vulnerability is being able to recognize how you're feeling and be able to share that with somebody. It's being able to be open with somebody.
So you're not being vulnerable when you gossip over mimosas on a Saturday with all your friends?
No, that's not vulnerability. That's just, well, I mean, that's just having a good time, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I mean, I really think that's it. Like, to be vulnerable requires you to expose a side of you usually don't share with other people. And
yeah, and
go ahead.
Yeah, and here's the thing, there's one person in this world you should be sharing that with, and that is your wife or your husband. That's who you should be vulnerable with, because that's who's there to support you.
Yeah.
And I go back to it every time. They don't know how to support you if they don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I made a couple missteps early in my sobriety, being vulnerable with this audience instead of with my wife first about things. And man, it set me up for failure because it exposed an Achilles heel that I didn't even fully understand yet. And the people on the internet aren't nice.
No.
Whereas my wife is like, wants to walk through what it is without casting stones, you know? So yeah, I learned that lesson the hard way, guys. You don't have to do that. Like, if you have a something you're feeling that you don't understand, you should go share it with the person who's less likely to stab you in the heart because you told them like, hey, it hurts if you touch me there. Because the
And
internet touches.
that's the thing. Vulnerability can be used against you. Like there's nothing saying that it won't be used against you.
Totally.
That's why you share it with your partner, because that's the one person. It's a safe environment where if it's handled correctly, they're going to walk you through it.
Yep.
You're going to handle your shit, and then you can go, if you feel like it, express it to the whole world.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. I mean, and that's part of what I've done is like, I own it now. I mean, there's nobody I like, oh yeah, you're right. I did used to drink, I wasn't always the best guy, all those things. You can't use it against me anymore because I've talked with my partner about it. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like you can drag something up and find her on the internet and tell her some secret,
Yeah.
like there's nothing like
Yeah.
that. And it's not a point where it hurts me. Like, what are you gonna come at me, bro? Yeah, I used to drink. What's your point? Like, where I work with people all the time where it's like, and I always try to get them to be honest with themselves and the world around them about it. It's like, you're living a lie if you want to be a closeted sober person. Like, it's just a weird thing to do. Like, they will try to avoid Christmas parties and stuff. Like, well, I don't want the people to know I don't drink. It's like, there's someone else there that doesn't drink also, by the way. Like, just so you know, you're not gonna be the only one. And they don't give a shit about what you're doing anyways. They're not there for you. They're there for them. And if it's a Christmas party, they're probably there to get loaded, not pay attention to the fact that you're not. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. And just like in a relationship, doing that, I mean, you're really talking about assumptions or trying to mind read without actually gaining clarification on the situation, which it's just going to make more conflict. You cannot read somebody's mind, and you're making assumptions doesn't do anything for anyone.
What do they say about assuming, Ryan?
Makes an ass out of you and me.
There you go. There you go, dude. My parents told me that all growing up.
Yeah.
They were making assumptions about each other. Sorry, mom and dad. But then I did it too, and now I know better.
I love this.
I'm gonna frame that and put that on my wall, dude.
You should.
I mean, we're definitely gonna get into AA at some point. But yeah, that's hilarious. I appreciate that. Cool. Well, I'm glad we're doing something for you, Steve. That's what we're here. That's what we're here for. That's like the reality is. I don't know if you know that, but I'm the founder of IANYS, which is I am not your sponsor, because I'm not your sponsor. So I'm an alternative approach. So there you go.
So yeah, like in recovery, in relationships, you make an assumption, you just make more conflict.
Yeah.
Rather than talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mind reading is not a thing. Like, you can read into things, but reading into things is also assuming. Like, it's better just to ask, hey, I mean, this has happened in my relationship. Hey, your texts were really short. Is something going on? Yeah, something was going on, right? But we addressed it.
Yeah.
Rather than just assuming something was wrong, dragging it out, causing a huge kerfuffle or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it just I'm trying to put this into a sobriety context. Help me out here. Assumptions and going to Christmas parties and being out in the big wide world.
Well, I think we make a lot of assumptions that people give a shit about what we're doing, or we just make assumptions about what's going on in their head in general.
Yeah.
Because of anxiety. It's like we talked about the discrepancy thing earlier. It's a way for us to try to manage our expectation and our experience.
Yeah.
We usually take this like really harsh defensive where we just go, everyone's staring at us. Everyone knows that we have a drinking problem. Therefore, I just don't want to be there. I don't want to engage with these people. What I try to teach everyone I work with is you have to I approach it like I'm a judge in the United States legal system. I don't know about any of the other ones, but here in the US, evidence comes in, that's all you have. They do not make assumptions. They're not making these leaps of faith. Like if you don't have the right things in place to prove that something did or did not happen in a certain way, then it just didn't. Like even if like you know, yep, that's what happened. You just don't do that. You don't make these sweeping assumptions. You just don't do it. You shouldn't do it in life because you don't know what's going through somebody's head until they tell you, which means you should ask questions and then you should actively listen to their response.
Yeah, like if you think somebody is bothered by you being sober or somebody's judging you by you being sober, the best thing to do is ask them.
Yeah.
If they are of significance in your life.
Yeah.
I'm
Don't
not
ask a stranger.
I'm not saying going up to every stranger you encounter, but the people who are significant, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about going to a Christmas party that one of your friends is putting on. You don't want to be weird because people might think you're not drinking. Fucking ask them. Like,
Yep.
what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're going to say, "Yeah, it's going to be weird if you're here." Cool. You already weren't going to go, so it doesn't matter.
Your plan was already to bail, dude. Don't get mad. Don't get
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
No, I love
But
that.
on the other side, they're probably 90% of the time, 99, they're going to say, "Dude, like nobody really gives a shit if you drink or not. We're going to have other stuff there to drink.
Yeah,
Like we would just want you there." That's
totally.
probably how the conversation's going to go.
Totally. Yeah. And also, whether you recognize it or not, the majority of the people that stick around in your life after you get sober want you to stay sober. Like
Yeah.
that's a fact. So like they don't want you to show up to the Christmas party and drink. Dude, this one is the one my wife and I still run into problems with, is the assumptions thing.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly assuming that the other person's going to make a move that we want them to move. Like we think they should be able to read our minds and
Mhm.
know that like, yeah, duh, I wanted you to grab that, or duh, I wanted you to do that. It's not healthy. We get better about it, but it's like for a while we would actually be like mean to each other over it. Like, how did you not know to grab that? It's like, well, because you didn't say anything. Why shouldn't have to? Like, no, literally, you should have to. Like, if you want a thing, you want action taken, you say something about it, you know?
Well, and that's where you both here's a little coaching for you. You both failed because you're assuming that she should say something. She's assuming you should say something. Somebody has to just
Ask.
somebody just has to do it and say, "Hey, do you want me to grab this for you?" Or just
Thanks.
grab it.
Me and
Ask.
my failed marriage over here don't know how to communicate
But
effectively.
it really is those little things, those little questions.
Yeah.
Like you assume something, just ask.
Yeah. Just go for clarity from the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
No.
Um, we just make mountains out of molehills frequently in our relationships. It's just like a thing we do.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Yeah. Like even, no matter how pro you are, we do this stuff. It's insane.
Oh, Jackie. Those people, the friends, don't know me sober, and I don't know if I like now that I am sober. You don't know if you like that you're sober if you don't know if they like you now that you're sober.
Yeah, let us know if you're talking. Well, and I'm also curious if, because some people don't know if they like themselves after they get sober, right?
Yeah, that's why I was
Uh,
asking.
so yeah, let us know which one it is. We love to address that.
Oh,
Oh, if I like them, hey.
well, again, you'll never know unless you ask,
Yeah.
unless you say something. They don't
Yeah.
know you sober.
And I don't know
You
if I
don't
like
know if
them.
they like you sober.
No. She doesn't
Oh,
know
if
if she
you
likes
like
them.
them.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude.
Well, and then here's the thing. You gotta talk to them to find out if you still like them.
Yeah, that's true. Um, Also, like I don't know. This, we'll see what Ryan thinks about this, but like one thing that I do advocate sometimes is like if you have someone in your life, sometimes you don't have to break up with your friend or that
Yeah.
person. Like
Yeah.
if you just stop engaging with them, it will naturally just like disappear. Like they won't talk to you anymore. You don't talk to them anymore. Nobody there doesn't have to be bad blood. Whereas
Yeah.
if you have a situation where like you've fallen out of a relationship, a friendship with somebody, and you like, hey man, I don't like you now. I don't
Yeah.
want to be your friend. Like you make it weird by doing that. So sometimes it's just best to like let sleeping dogs lie. Just stop texting them. Let it
Oh,
handle itself. Right.
100%.
Yeah, dude.
I was looking for something for Trisha.
Why?
So she's like, this not drinking thing is good. I'm trying to get used to my even shorter temper ability to deal with stupid. And then I'm witnessing myself kind of from the outside. I found I don't hang with certain people because they drink.
Nah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, um, you do you, boo. Like that's how you got to do it in the beginning. If you need to stick away from people, or the truth is, dude, I can't stand even my closest friends when they're drunk. They know that. Like we've talked about it. It's just
Yeah.
like you get to a point where I'm like, yeah, like you're not even intelligible anymore. You think you are, and somehow the two of you having this conversation, you're having a conversation. But I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about. You just don't know it right now. I gotta go. Like I gotta leave.
Yeah.
Um, you know what I'm talking about. It's like how are these guys? This doesn't even make sense. But
Mhm.
they think it's funny. I don't even know what's going on. Um, yeah. So I don't like to hang out with people like that.
Yeah.
But boundaries. Set your boundaries.
Boundaries.
Yeah. If it ain't, you don't want
Weird.
to be around people that are
We just,
drinking, then don't.
we just came full circle.
Dude, that happens a lot on this show. It's like, is that a sign of a good conversation or a bad conversation? I don't really know. I don't really care either.
It's I mean, it's good. It's good for the structure of a show.
Yeah. Hey, and at a 52-minute mark, even man, we just
I know.
murdered that.
I
How you
know.
know? How you know?
Boundaries. Yes.
Dude, they're the
Life
hardest and most important thing.
life didn't change by not hanging with them, so that's good. Don't even feel like anything missing. Perfect.
that's that's a victory. That's a solid victory. Yeah, I didn't even notice you weren't in the room anymore.
Yeah, it's not even worth worrying about.
Yeah. Well, that's honestly that's it. It's like I I have a couple friends that like, and I mean honestly they were friends at some point. They were like whether I liked that or not.
Mhm.
The friendship was built on a different level of ideals than I hold today. That's just the reality, right? But they were
Yeah.
I held them close at some point, and then now like they I don't even I think about them on occasion, like like I hope they're doing good or whatever, but I don't like miss them. Like there's nothing in
Yeah.
my life that's missing because they're gone. There's no void. I suppose that's the best way. There wasn't a void left when they like are gone.
Well, and that's one of the coolest things about personal growth, and you'll get it in I know you'll get it in my coaching program, I'm guessing in yours, is that as you start to grow, the relationships you seek out are from people who are also growing. You kind of leave the stagnant people behind.
Yeah, you
And
have
it's
to.
not that you dislike them, it's not that there's anything bad happening, there's no room in life for people who aren't willing to grow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And dude, those are those mimosa drinking people on Saturdays. They just want to talk about everybody else.
Yeah.
'Cause they're like, dude, I don't have time to meet up with somebody to talk shit about other people because that's my hour workout. Like you
Yeah.
just robbed
Yeah.
me of the thing that I'm doing to improve myself.
Yeah.
So, um, you're either growing or you're dying. Like whether you like it or not, that is a fact of life. So,
Mhm.
which crowd do you want to be part of? You know,
Yeah.
um, and
That's
you,
that's probably why I have so few friends, like I mean, I have close friends, but they're all over the world, but like directly around me,
Mhm.
if we're not talking about growth, experiencing growth, or talking about business, like I just don't have time for it. That is
Yeah,
what my life is about personal development, relationship development, and business.
and they're all the same thing.
They kind of are. But
There's so much overlap.
but you get to that point and like I understand like in the beginning you're getting sober, these things kind of they suck to deal with.
Yeah,
It sucks to deal with these relationships that aren't serving you anymore. But once you get on the path of personal growth, things start to open up and you see things so much more clearly. And those relationships, you see them for what they are.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think part of it is like we seek out relationships that are permissive of our bullshit, that co-sign our bullshit.
Yeah.
Like we look for those things because we're not looking to be called out. We're
Hmm.
looking to be like applauded and cheered on in
Yeah.
our own misdeeds.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, we don't even recognize that they're misdeeds at the time. I think that's important to recognize too.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, and then you you get your shit together and you go, I don't want to keep doing this. Like
Yeah.
this isn't the coffee club I want to be a part of. So I'm not coming back.
Yeah. And
Um,
you start to see and set those boundaries and see those those structures in your life that aren't serving you anymore.
yeah.
You start to be able to pick them out. I mean, when I left academia, so many people hated me. Like really good friendships were
For sure.
broken because I made a choice to leave academia. I was called ignorant. I was I was just belittled left and right because I was taking a different path in life that I knew I needed to take for my own growth, for my own well-being. And those relationships just they don't serve you at some point because these people can't even support you in
Yeah.
that. And you come to a realization that hey, if you're not going to support me, you're just standing in my way. And that's not going to happen.
So do you think, and by the way, this is not me saying that higher education is a bad decision. I don't want anybody to take what I'm about to say that way. But do you think that part of it, not but, and do you think part of it is that your decision to choose a different path makes those people question the one that they've chosen?
Possibly, and I've thought about that. Like I
And
thought
without
about
making
that.
assumptions,
Yeah,
right?
I definitely thought about that. And it's also I mean, I made the assumption, but it also wasn't something that I needed an answer to, so I wasn't gonna talk to him about
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
ship had sailed.
Yeah.
Um,
I just ask because you see that in sobriety a lot. Like there's this like pretty toxic cultural thing. It's a phenomenon that occurs where it's like we can't let that dude leave the drinking fold
mhm,
because he helps enable us to be a part of the drinking fold. If he
yeah,
leaves, then we have to question what we're doing, you know.
yeah.
So I didn't know if it was there was something similar to that at all.
I think they didn't understand,
Yeah, what are you doing, Ryan? You're
and,
supposed to be a professor.
well, yeah, yeah, like, this is the route you took.
Yeah,
You went to get a doctorate in a research line. Why are you going applied? Why are
yeah,
you going into a field that's applied? Well, because I can, because it needs me, because there aren't enough people with advanced degrees coaching.
yeah,
Like it's necessary. I want to get the knowledge out there. That's what I want to do. And I have the skill set to teach and the knowledge base
yeah,
to give that information out freely.
yeah, totally. Yeah, that's like what caused me to do this was like I love marketing. Like I love marketing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I've always loved it. And I was reading a book, and this guy said that if you have knowledge to share with other people, you have a moral obligation to share that with other people. And I'm like doing something way over here as I'm reading this book. Like I'm like I'm going to apply all this stuff to that thing over there, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like, dude, that shit's not valuable.
Yeah.
But this that I'm doing right now is the thing I have the moral obligation to share. So it was like, shit, I guess I'm changing gears, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
It's similar. I mean, I was doing research. So at the PhD level, you're creating knowledge, which most people don't realize.
mhm,
It's about knowledge creation because when you publish something, that means it's never been studied before.
yeah,
Essentially, not all the time, but essentially that's what you're doing. And I got to thinking, I was like, I'm doing this, creating knowledge for other academics to read and then create more knowledge on. What is the benefit of this? Who is learning from this? And we're writing in such an abstract, convoluted way that the average person, if they picked up what we were writing, would not make any sense.
totally,
It just wouldn't,
totally, totally.
because we're writing in such a specific way and a level that you shouldn't, like, there's no reason for it to be written at that level
Yeah,
except for other academics to read. So why not take that knowledge base, that knowledge creation, and put it into a platform in an easily digestible way
totally.
for everybody to learn from?
Do you love that? I so that paper that this professor I had, Dr. Lee, and I just had published. I have a friend that's like, I can't wait to finally read it. And this is all I could think. And this is not a stupid person, right? My friend is not dumb. But all I could think in my head is like, you will have no idea what it means. Like it will mean nothing to you because you don't have the background knowledge base to like be able to wrap your head around the things, because there's sentences of like basically made up words that don't mean anything to anybody outside of the communication field.
Yeah.
Like, huh, I wonder what that means. Like, well, you'll be spending a ton of time on Google to read the paper, but you're more than welcome to.
It's
And
like,
go
yeah,
ahead.
it's like somebody who's never done CrossFit before going into a CrossFit gym
Yeah,
thinking they're going to understand everything those people are talking about.
straight up. Yeah, this is the Murph. And this one we're doing this AMRAP. What the hell's AMRAP? Like, oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
things like that.
You're gonna kip those? Like what?
Mhm.
What? Yeah. No, that's exactly what it's like because there's just so much jargon, which is interesting because you're taught. I mean, we're way down a rabbit hole, but you're taught we're supposed to write succinctly and avoid jargon. But then when you write academically, just kidding, throw those rules out. We need to include the jargon because it's the only way to talk to one another about
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, fine.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, so we are past the top of the hour. We are way out in left field at this point. So we're gonna rein us back in. I know it's a fireside chat, but it's getting late for this chat because it's 10 here and 4 o'clock is less than 6 hours away now. So I'm gonna do the sleepy sleep thing. We'll see you guys Tuesday. Hey, all things going as planned. The podcast will definitely drop on Monday. I promise you that. I don't know if the video will, and I don't know if I'll have that event thing, but no matter what, I will make sure to have the podcast out by Monday. Without regard to whatever's going on with my son. I don't have the time to get that done. So for those of you that are listeners, you're gonna get it on time. Promise.
Like it.
So yeah, is that good? I mean, is it cool if we just cut it off right there?
Yeah, let's cut it off. Thanks, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Appreciate all of you here, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, totally. Thank you all for being here. We'll catch you guys later.
We need to hit Steve up, FYI, before we go next time. Steve, while you're here, I don't know, go follow our group, Dillon and the Doc.
I'll shoot him some links real quick on Messenger.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll get you squared away, man. Alrighty.
Later.
Later.